What is up, guys? Welcome back to Esk8 Exchange, the podcast where we talk about electric skateboards, the Esk8 industry, MBoards, board bumpers, our electric skateboard journey, kind of pretty much.
We talk about what we want to talk about.
We talk about, what we want to talk about.
I think we figured that out earlier.
And maybe you guys want to listen to it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But this is episode 12. I can't believe we've done 12 episodes of this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is 3 months now.
Mark, you getting more comfortable yet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not the rookie anymore.
No, he's been on a couple episodes now.
Yeah.
There's a few episodes where I didn't say much, but
Yeah.
You were here in spirit. So
honestly, I think Mark's got his own take on everything, and Mark's got
he's got that outsider view.
A little bit.
It's great
because like you're involved in the electric skateboard community, you're involved in business, but it's not like your favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a nice.
I mean, everything I know basically came from you.
Right.
This isn't my hobby, but
right.
I've learned enough along the way that I can complete my jobs and stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like you know so much about a hobby that you don't love, which is so interesting. It happens. Like you have a lot of knowledge about everything, but it's knowledge that maybe you don't necessarily want to have. But here it is.
Hey, I do my job.
Yep, absolutely.
Pays the bills.
That's right. So I want to start off. If there's anything ever new going on at MBoards, I would like to just start the podcast off, give everyone a little company update. The first thing, our altering conversion kit is done. It's out on the website. You can actually buy it now. I've been talking about the conversion kit for our Interstellar for 8
months.
8 months, literally since our board came out in March.
Although the screw shortage is keeping people from actually getting
them.
So
we've sold a few and we shipped out a few, but we just need a little bit. Some screws are coming in, I think today or tomorrow. So they'll go out.
Everything will go out.
Everything will go
Christmas.
Out. Yeah. For sure. Which right now is pretty much what we're doing. It's like it arrives before Christmas because like usually on a normal day, a normal week, it's like 1 to 3 business days it goes out the door. But with the holidays, it's been 4, maybe 5. It's just been so busy that we're doing our best.
10 times as many orders as normal.
Right. So we're doing our best to keep up with it. So if you guys have ordered something and have had to wait a day or so extra, I appreciate your patience. And
because we're running Mark ragged.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's definitely
the last couple of weeks have been pretty insane.
Yeah. I swear every time I sit down to do a podcast, our chat lights up. So it's like people are messaging.
Maybe we could talk to somebody live. Would that be weird if we did that? Like
I don't know.
Them and
we could bring someone. We could try to bring like phone calls in or something one day.
We got a board bumpers update.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah. So Black Friday was successful enough that we are able to now offer free shipping.
Sweet.
U.S. In the U.S. for any orders over $10. So
which is pretty much everything.
Which is pretty much everything.
Is there anything on the website?
Realistically, we had to put 10? A number. Yeah, you can get bearings. You can get
2 bearings, which is less than $10. Which is like if we were to offer that, we like literally lose money on it. But other than that, everything else is free shipping.
And for some of y'all that were on the fence about buying our products and maybe you missed out on Black Friday. We also updated some of those prices.
Yes,
so
we
should
brought
go
the prices
back, take
down
a peek. Please don't be mad at us if you bought a couple weeks ago, but this is just
how business works.
We've gotten enough support that we just want to see these out more and more and more. So.
Right. Yeah, and I'm super excited about the board. The direction board bumpers is going. It's a very slow start.
It's a slow burn.
But
it's with any business.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's picking back up. It's it's heading in the right direction. So that's exciting.
If anybody's going to be attending, we will be in Carlsbad also next weekend.
Yes.
For the Evolve group ride. Look them up, but we'll have our parts there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'll be bringing any MBoard stuff.
I probably might as well.
May as well.
I'll probably bring my.
So we're going to spend a day there. If you guys are in the area, hit us up. We can go for a ride. I think we're going to ride Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check out their demo just because. Go look at the Hadean. And then probably ride Saturday night.
Yep.
Probably Sunday morning. And then the water park on Sunday.
And then I got to be back.
And then we got to come home.
Then I got to come back.
Yep.
Okay, so the new board that will remain unnamed for MBoards right now.
The killer.
I just spent a lot of money on a mold today. The most expensive mold I think I've ever spent money on. It's for our forged carbon fiber deck. What?
Are you tweaking spending that much money?
No, because you know what's insane about this business is we spend so much money on things that it has completely desensitized me.
Yeah.
Because again, my most expensive battery order was like $50,000. So I'm like, all right, well, now anything less than that is like, oh, at least it wasn't $50,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Buy
saying?
a car
What
with
a
that.
relief.
Yeah. Oh,
what
good.
a relief.
No, but like it's a very expensive mold. Carbon fiber decks are like the unit prices are very expensive as it is. So now you throw on, you know, a $6,000 mold on top of it, which is insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like that money is, you don't ever get that. You don't get it back. It's not like you bought $6,000 worth of product and you sell it all for $7,000 or whatever.
I mean, over time, as you
over
sell more,
over time, the more and more
better.
units you sell, the cost per piece as far as the molds goes down. But still, like,
If you only sell one,
it costs us
it's gonna be an
$6,000.
expensive board.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my personal board is going to cost me $50,000 by the end of the day unless I sell some of them.
Man.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That
it's
has
insane.
to be. I wonder if that's like what. I wonder what like the record would be of like the most expensive board.
Just
you
pretty
would
much
qualify.
any prototype that just failed to
Every
get off
company
the ground.
that just fizzled out in their garage.
Yeah. So
That won't be yours.
No.
This thing's gonna be a beast.
it's gonna be awesome. So I'm really excited to get that done. It's in motion now. So I think we'll have a sample in 45 days, which is awesome. Like, that's
Pretty good.
really good as far as like, because the molds are huge. They're these giant steel molds that are obviously the same exact size as the deck, so they're big, and it's impressive. Like, when you look at them, I've seen some pictures. I asked for some sample photos of like past work they've done. They sent me pictures of molds and stuff, and they're huge, very impressive. Like, it doesn't shock me at all that it costs that much money, just because the metal alone costs a fortune. Then you have to CNC it all out and finish it and polish it and all this stuff. So it's insane, but I'm excited about it. Anyways, I don't have a lot of information on it, but
I think it's
gonna be a lot of fun.
There's still a lot of good ideas floating around.
Yeah,
and,
like,
gotta keep
and
it secret
until that
for a little
deck
bit longer.
shows up, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of samples, and I'm gonna try to have you break one to make sure, just to see. I mean, I don't want you to break it. I want you to use it. I want you to use it and abuse it.
Stress
Obviously,
test.
right.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you wanted to break it, you could break anything.
Yeah, we're gonna run it through its paces.
But
got some plans.
but you're a much taller dude than me, and you can put a lot more wear on a board than I
I
will.
got a few extra turkeys in my belly.
But anyways, so that's really exciting. But it's definitely a really expensive mold. So
What can we give them like one?
Okay,
Like
so it'll hold a 12S AP.
what?
That's
It's
a lot
a
of miles.
chunky
good
boy.
one.
It's a chunky boy. It looks nice. I 3D printed the whole thing, glued it all together. It looks nice. It's chunkier than a regular like
Can we
carbon
tell them
deck.
what battery does?
Yeah, it'll be a 12S 8P P42A pack.
Okay.
So it's the gold
That's
standard as far
tank.
as like the cells that are
It's
being
like
used.
100 miles.
Dude, honestly, I think you'll get like 80 miles on
Wow.
a charge. Honestly,
Yeah.
because
That's really
what a
good.
Hadian is a 12S 4P, and what are their ranges? You could double their ranges pretty much.
I don't even remember now, honestly. 40?
I think it's 40 something on
40,
street wheels.
40 on street wheels and 20 plus maybe on all terrains, rider
So
dependent.
I'm
blah,
thinking
blah, blah, blah,
80
blah.
miles on street wheels and 40 plus on all
That's gonna
terrains.
be nuts.
Which is honestly, you do not need 80s. You do not need 80 miles on a charge for street wheels. But where it's going to come in handy is the guys that are going on long all-terrain rides.
Yep.
40
Yeah.
miles on all terrains will be insane. And seriously, because I could see myself like really going out and like spending all day riding a trail that it's like 30, 40 miles. I could see that happening, I guess.
It's a whole day, thing.
A whole day. Yeah, for sure. People go hiking for all day long. So I could see people going rides that long too.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than having to think about your battery, things like that. I mean, you wouldn't go out on the trail, with no extra fuel, but
Right.
we can't bring extra.
Right.
It's tough.
It's really
It's very
pain in the
tough to
ass.
bring extra.
Right.
So
So it's exciting. The drivetrain for this board is almost done. I've went through a couple different samples of motor mounts. I 3D printed some new stuff. Wheels, pulleys, all that's done. I just got to get a couple extra samples for motors. Make sure our shaft links are good. I want to make sure like the cables are nice and braided.
Nice.
When do you think it'll be available on the website?
The whole board. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to launch in March, but it'll probably, because of the world right now, it'll probably be April, which is fine because that's like when
Didn't
our
you
business
launch
picks up.
Interstellar
In
last
March.
March?
In March, yeah. So I was trying to do it exactly a year later,
Yeah.
like iteration 2 kind of thing. I mean, this one's more of an
That's
addition.
gonna be a lot because you got Esk8 Con 2 in March.
Yeah, so I was hoping we could get it ready. I'll at least have a prototype at the convention.
Yeah.
So at the very least, we'll have that. But I don't think we'll be launched and like people could purchase at the convention or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe though, we'll see how it all shakes out because it really will depend on on how, if this port situation, because like these decks, I have to sea ship them.
Yeah.
I have to. It would cost a fortune to get them airshipped. So like our samples and prototypes will all get airshipped. I don't care about spending extra money on that. But when it comes to production and getting prices, because I also don't want to have to charge $1 million for this thing.
Yeah.
It needs to be competitive, which it will be. It'll cost less than a Hadean for double the battery. But I don't know. It's going to be insane. So, but I have to, hopefully the port situation works itself out. We can actually sea ship things in at a reasonable price, and we'll have to go from there. So I'm hoping we can get it done in March, but they also, China goes on a holiday for like a month from like January to February.
Yeah.
So there's that too that we have to work around. So I think that's going to be our ultimate reason for probably missing our deadline a little bit, but it is what it is. It's okay. Well, we'll have it ready for like early like spring or whatever.
Yeah.
It's good goal. Got to get it before it gets too hot here anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I have some unpopular opinions for you guys today.
Yeah, so last week we asked for a bunch of people to send in unpopular opinions. You guys definitely sent a bunch in, DMs and all that. But Maddie, did you found this one?
Yeah, so the first one I actually found on a mommy blog. And her opinion is that electric skateboards make children lazy. Parents should never buy them for their children, and that every time she sees a kid on an electric skateboard, she wonders what is wrong with their legs.
Wow. That's aggressive.
That's intense.
Why does she own a car? Does this lady own a car? Why doesn't she walk everywhere?
She thinks that it is pointless to buy something, a vehicle, if you will, that is capable of its own propulsion when children are fully capable of propulsion.
That's fascinating.
Wow.
She could take like a horse-drawn carriage to work.
Yeah. Why? I mean, okay. Here's. Let me have a crack at this one.
I do think there's some credibility to children becoming lazy. However, I think
this is not
getting
it.
children, like, I think a large problem is that most children like don't go outside anymore.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, we lived outside. But I feel like a lot of kids today spend most of their time indoors. So I think anything getting them outside
so
can be positive.
Here's my opinion. I had a professor at UNLV tell me that I was lazy because I had an electric skateboard after he saw that I had one. Yep.
I didn't know that.
And I said, and my response was, one, it's not about being lazy. It's about getting into class and getting to where I need to be efficiently. It's not about not wanting to walk. It's about my ass is late every day
I don't have
when
all
I
day
do
to
walk.
stop and smell the roses.
Right,
Yeah.
like it just I can get through campus in like 2 minutes. It's amazing. Like it's awesome. But as far as children go with electric skateboards, one, I don't think people really understand how many calories you actually burn riding electric skateboards.
Yep.
Like I'm tired. Like it's so stupid to say. My legs are beat at the end of a longer ride.
Some of my best naps.
I'm actually very tired at the end of a longer ride, and there's no way that I'd be super tired if it wasn't tiring at all. Like, so there's that. Also, like, like Maddie said, like, and I have nothing wrong with kids like being on phones and playing video games to a certain extent, but it does seem like that kids nowadays, like we used to spend every single day in the cul-de-sac playing with all of our neighbor friends. I don't see that anymore. Like,
I mean, there also is the time of like COVID and all
well,
that. So
it's a little different. But even 2 years ago, years ago, I'm still an adult. I'm driving around. I don't see this happen as much as we did. So I think anything that gets them off of a screen and in and outside playing with something, I think is healthy. There's no way an electric skateboard just makes you lazy.
No,
it doesn't make
I don't
any
think
sense.
so.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not like they just decided that they're never going to walk. What I think is lazy is those hoverboards. Those little, they call them hoverboards, the two-wheeled balance things. I think those are dumb.
Yeah,
Like,
because there's no point.
There's no point because they
3 miles an hour,
don't go any faster than you walking.
Yep.
And people just stand up. Like, to me, they're fun. Like they've made the best videos ever of people eating shit on Christmas morning and stuff. But like, I've seen people on sidewalks riding them, but like they're not any faster than walking.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
to
I don't
me-
think it's really about an efficiency thing. I think they're just fun for some people.
Well, they're fun, yeah. And then at that point, if it's fun, then I don't think it's lazy.
No.
It's just a fun thing to do. It's a sport.
People have hobbies. Like, I don't know.
Like bicycles, like they are more efficient than walking, but they have to be easier to use than walking.
Yeah.
So is it make me lazy to want to ride my bicycle? I mean, I know that I'm still exercising, but not as much as I walked there.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
what
right.
if any of that? Like, my car, I could walk it anywhere. I could walk to work every day. Am I going to? Absolutely not.
Yeah, so
It's only a mile and a
I
half.
think we can leave that one in the unpopular
Jeez.
I think we
category.
That is
killed
very
one.
That we
unpopular.
don't agree
Dead.
with that one.
That one's
So
dead.
I do have a lot here.
Hey,
so
we
we'll
should
move on.
contact her and have her come on the podcast. We can light her up for an hour.
I don't think she'll be
Yeah.
interested in that.
No, probably not.
Okay, so the next one, I'm actually interested in Jacob's take on this.
Oh,
is
geez.
that
Uh-oh.
Shredlights are overrated and overpriced.
Oh, that's a bummer. All right. Well, so I dig my Shredlights. I've gone through all three, generations now. I've tried them all. They are very effective, and they do what Shredlights says they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That there is no doubt about that. The reason they get away with the prices they do is because right now they're the only ones. We've seen maybe a few new clones that popped up.
But they're more.
And,
The clones are
they
more
were
expensive.
way more
Yeah.
expensive. They were way more expensive.
I think
so
Anza just dropped a set.
Yeah.
I don't mind to say, I don't like to talk bad about companies. I understand how difficult it is. I think the larger companies, though, I think can handle a little bit more grief. Anza just released like their clones, and they're
Yeah.
like twice as expensive,
it was crazy.
like $120, and to me that doesn't make any sense.
So I would say this: are they a bit pricey? Maybe, right? But they're the best thing out there. There's nothing else out there that you're gonna do. You're not gonna go to Amazon and put a $5 light on your board.
No.
We all know that those things don't work. The best advice: put a light on your helmet.
Yeah,
It's the best spot for them. They look cool on the board, but they need to go on a helmet to be the most effective.
right.
So if you haven't gone that way and you still think they're overrated, then try that, and then I don't know. Let's talk again.
What about like the LED light strips?
Okay,
Like
so
the stick-on ones?
yeah, so there's that's a whole secondary category of lights.
Mhm.
Although Shredlights did just release like an
Yeah.
RGB light. But as far as just like lights to see at night go, the person who was talking was comparing like cheaper bike lights and GoPro mounts to their mounting system. And to me, like
they killed those mounts. They killed. I
Like,
love those things.
yeah, to me the Shredlights are way more like they're way more lower profile. If you get a GoPro mount attached to a truck with a big old like this light is huge now. I think the best part about Shredlights is that they're dinky and they're effective and they last plenty. Their runtime is enough for all your rides.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they cheap? No, they're not cheap. But I wouldn't call them expensive.
But go buy a good
either.
flashlight, because I use
Yeah.
mine as a flashlight. I actually keep them in my vehicles. We take them when we travel. I have a set at least on me all the time. So I clip them, onto a backpack. I throw it on my hat. There's so many different ways that you can use them. They of course are marketing just towards, electric vehicles and things like that. But realistically, you're buying a flashlight that attaches to your board.
Right.
And that's what it is.
I mean, this hobby is not the cheapest hobby.
No,
by
it's
any
not.
means, so
Right.
it's probably just comparing to how the market is.
If you
Yeah.
want a
Like,
cheap light, then go buy a cheap light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I would say so. What was the unpopular opinion? How was it worded?
They're overrated and overpriced.
No, I don't think so. I honestly really don't think they're overpriced. I think they're not a cheap light, right? As far as lights go, but I don't think they're overpriced.
Overpriced would insinuate that they're not worth what they're charging for them.
I mean, one light's
not
$30.
just that they're expensive.
It's $30. A single light's $30.
It comes down to what it's
Right?
worth to you
Yeah.
to have that light on the board.
And probably one of the best customer service groups that I've dealt with. Those
Oh,
guys
yeah?
are awesome.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
I know
Fantastic.
when we place our bulk like wholesale orders, they're Eric's very very responsive. I mean,
Yep.
obviously, your sales team is usually more responsive than your customer service team, but
They've always
but
been great.
anyways, they've been really great so far. But again, we're not affiliated with them at all. I actually don't carry any of their products right now. I do hope to change that soon, but
Yeah.
this is
And
my real opinion.
I did feel comfortable sharing this because it is about a brand, and normally we want to stay away from that. But Shredlights did actually. This one came from Reddit, and Shredlights actually did respond to this person.
okay.
And, kind of created more of a back and forth than anything. But they did stand their
usually how it
ground
goes.
and fight against it. So that's why I felt comfortable
Yeah.
sharing. But going along with overpriced, this one is that recently released high end, which this viewer defines as 4-figure boards.
So $1,000 or more.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
High-end boards that are recently released are overpriced and will be obsolete in no time.
Are they saying that the category of 4 digits are going to be obsolete, or just the ones that are recently?
The boards that are being released that are in that price
Okay,
range.
and when did they say that? Because we found that on Reddit too, right?
Yes, this was 2 years ago.
Okay, so what boards were coming out in 4 digits 2 years ago?
Probably every board.
I mean,
quite a few.
Quite a few
the
actually.
had just started. So I would say that's if we take it from 2 years ago and then let's put it into now, call them boutique or not. Cali has a $7,000 board. A bio board will cost you $5,000.
Wow.
LaCroix are almost $5,000 by the time you pay taxes. So if we want to really talk high end and is that market going to stay around? I say yes, but it's going to be tiny.
But here's the thing. I feel like considering high end 4 digits is stupid.
Right.
I'm sorry. $1,000 board is a fine board, but that's no $5,000 bio board.
Well, this was also,
I think 2 years ago it may have been a little different. I mean, at that, so I mean, even an Evolve was $2,000, you know, and that was how many people said how overpriced, you know, that is. So LaCroix was just out 2019. Cali was getting busier. BioBoards was out. So I think maybe, you know, there was a handful that started. I would call them higher. But then things change, right? Batteries are more expensive. Motor controllers are more expensive. Every single component that goes on the board is more expensive. And if we want the innovation, then you have to weed out the cheap stuff.
The boards that are from 500 to like 700 that are pre-built, like a lot of people don't like those because they're not very reliable.
Right.
Boosted is not around because they had an expensive board with cheap, shitty parts. Right. So now we have expensive boards with expensive parts, and we're all bitching that they're too expensive.
Right.
But what's your alternative?
Right.
You know?
I think, I think you're right about that. I mean, really, because like at this point in time, so how about this? 2 years ago, the boards that were coming out, are they obsolete? Sure. I think probably anything that came out.
That price point's not obsolete.
The price. So I don't know what they really meant. If they're saying that the price point's obsolete, no, absolutely.
No, I think that they were saying that those boards, like if I were to go and buy
$1,000 board 2 years ago,
board 2 years ago, I'm paying too much for what it is, and there's going to be a new one that's better that I could get sooner than later. The board will become obsolete, and it's already too expensive as it is what they're saying.
I mean,
not that the price point, nothing about the price point.
Yeah, look at your
so this is a 12, the 10, I guess, or would be 2 years ago, the 10S.
Now they're on the 13.
Oh, so yeah, so I'm not even the most updated. See, I'm already obsolete. I mean, you're out.
I got an 11 last year. It was brand new.
So like, you could say that about anything.
Well, and I think people do say that, and I think it's also a lot of what I was seeing on there is that a lot of those boards are, as we've talked about before, just a pissing contest, that no one is using them to that full potential. So why are you paying that much money for a board that you're not even really using all the specs?
I think people overspend a lot on boards for no reason. Like, honestly, is there a single person who actually utilizes a bio board to its full potential?
I don't know.
They are very nice. They're very nice boards. They're very expensive. Does anyone actually push that board? If you don't know what we're talking about, give them a quick Google.
Beautiful, insanely powerful.
Beautifully designed, right? Beautiful. But
there are $1,000 boards out there that you can upgrade.
Oh, sure. So I guess to end this little segment, I guess anything, if you bought a $1,000 board 2 years ago, well, you're probably getting 30 Q cells. You're getting whatever ESC they put into it. And like the motor, I can tell you this, motors have not changed very much in 2 years.
No.
Motors have pretty much changed nothing. The batteries, you're going from 18650s to 21700s. And the ESCs, it's been a slow, I mean, there's better ESCs now since 2 years ago, but not really. Like, I mean,
it just all changed. Has more power. The motors
it's all more power.
Can accept more power. The batteries are more powerful.
But is it obsolete? That's a big word. I'm going to say, sure, I guess, is like you wouldn't sell that as new now, but if you had a board that's 2 years old and you're still rocking it every day, who cares?
Yeah.
It's worth the money. Like, and if you're still riding it 2 years later, then $1,000 wasn't that expensive if it's still on the road. I don't know. That's kind of Whatever.
Okay, so moving on, there's a lot out there about safety.
Mhm.
And skate, like just in general skateboarding, like skate skills, everything like that. So this one is that people care too much about specs and not enough about their skate skills. And along with that, someone else said that everyone should learn how to skate before you e-skate. And then we also had that knowing how to fall is more important than any safety gear.
Okay, so I'm gonna say all of those are not unpopular opinions. Oh, okay, how about this? I feel like anyone who's actually participates in the community agrees with the fact that, well, okay, that learning how to skate is more important than, or is super important. Like learning how to skate before electric skateboarding, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to skate, but I know how to snowboard and wakeboard.
Well, and I know how to ride a longboard, but I wouldn't say that I'm a good skateboarder.
Right.
Like I couldn't do any kind of skateboard trick at all.
No.
I would disagree that, I mean, I do think learning how to fall is important, but I don't think that it's more important than safety gear, like especially helmets. Maybe maybe other safety gear, which we actually do have an opinion about gear, safety gear in general. But I think like just a helmet, not like the armor and the jackets and the full face and whatever. Like I do think a helmet is important.
I think when you're doing skateboard tricks and you're doing ollies and all that, and I couldn't even name more than just that as far as skateboard tricks go. When you're traveling at 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, and you fall, like, yeah, a helmet's just important, but like you can stop yourself usually if you know how to fall right. You can stop your head from hitting the pavement most of the time. Obviously, there's outliers in all those situations, but when you're hitting the ground at 25, learning how to fall only goes so far.
Yeah.
A helmet is essential. Like, I'm sorry, like learning how to fall, right? You can mitigate some damage there, but you're you're gonna get injured.
Mm-hmm. I had one of my worst accidents the other day. I fell at 0 miles an hour.
Oh,
So I'm standing on my board talking to a buddy. We're about to get going, and for some reason, I whiskey throttled. I just mashed my throttle without even thinking. Not ready to go at all. Board completely flies out. I go parallel to the ground, land on my side, bust out my elbow, everything.
Jeez.
I was going 0 miles an hour.
And it hurt.
And it hurt so bad. Nobody would tell me how do you learn how to fall. Like
I don't know.
It happens, Yeah. It happens if you're going 40. It happens if you're going 1. It'd be great if I knew how to fall.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
I wouldn't feel so old.
And then what was the first opinion? The very first one that you said?
That people care too much about specs.
Yes, here it is.
And not their skills.
Here it is. Yes, people obsess over specs so hard for almost no reason, because nobody, like not nobody, but so many people, they do not use their boards. Like everyone is obsessing about range. Even our boards, they're gonna go 80 miles. Why?
Right.
Why?
Well, I
because
would say range is more like people would care more about than top speed.
No, I agree, but like still 90% of the people are not actually utilizing these insane ranges in one sitting. It might just be
a convenience thing.
Like
They don't have to charge it every single day.
And that's where it is. But in reality, though, if you had a 20-mile range, just have an 80-mile range, you could just charge it every day.
Yeah.
You come home, you plug it in. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a hardcore commuter and you're going everywhere, maybe you're actually hitting those longer range miles. But most people are not doing that. They're just not.
Well, should we blame the manufacturers for these specs then? Because, I mean, let's look at it. When you get a board and it says it can do a 35% hill incline, do you know where to go to ride a 35%?
Dude,
does it
San
matter?
Francisco?
Or the one that we talked about, the wattage of motors.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter?
Most of the time, no.
We see it. It's like seeing horsepower, but even in our case, it doesn't correlate the same way.
Yeah, I mean the biggest lie in the industry is telling people what wattage motors they have, because the batteries do not keep up with the wattage. Now, like our battery, a 12S 8P monocell, it'll keep up, but like when you go grab like a board off the shelf, like a regular like production board, and it's got 5,000 watt motors and it's running a Hobbywing ESC, we're like, no, that thing pulls like 20 amps.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make any sense.
So
they're not running those motors that high.
I think in part, if people, if you want to talk about complaining about specs, I think that's who we point the finger at and say, you know, find like we care about range, we care about speed, right? Like you don't buy a car and ask them, you know what? I don't even know where to start. Like
I don't even drive. I drive an electric car, so
a
at this
waste.
point, I really don't know anything. Like I
Right.
really don't know the specs
what
I'd be looking for.
specs do they tell you on a Tesla? How far it goes?
Yep.
And how fast it goes?
Yep.
What else
Do I know what wattage of motors I have? No clue.
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what voltage my battery pack is. No idea.
Right.
So speaking of speed, someone said that their board can do 28 miles per hour, but no one should ever go faster than 15.
Okay, well that's a little extreme.
Well, that's
lame.
so that's a law, actually.
Yeah, it really
But that they need to, I mean, that's boring.
It sounds like this person's never commuted on a board before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely safer to go 15.
Depends.
but-
Where are you riding? If you're riding in the streets, you got to keep up with traffic. If you're in New York City
Yeah.
and cars are going by at 25 miles an hour, you're probably better off going 25 miles an hour than you are 15.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just
Maybe for inexperienced riders,
yeah.
just stay below a certain amount. But like when you get more comfortable on the actual board, you're gonna go faster.
For sure.
Like
So that seems a little
I feel like
excessive.
that was a quick one. I have got another quick one.
Okay.
All terrain boards are not skateboards.
Yeah, I mean that's probably right.
I think in general, calling everything an electric skateboard is wrong. But
Yeah.
I mean, what else are we going to call them? An electric longboard? It is an electric
The
mountain
industry,
board,
yeah,
essentially.
the industry's already so niched down
Yeah.
that it's like how. Sure. Okay. Sure. We can agree. That's
Give
electric
us a new
mountain board.
name and we'll run with it, and we'll see what we can do with it.
I agree. It's probably not an electric skateboard.
It's just an all-terrain board.
Is it still going to be considered part of the e-skate community? Absolutely. It's never going to leave.
Is a OneWheel an e-skate?
Oh, so speaking of OneWheel,
Oh, yeah,
thank you
man.
for leading me in.
Please, let me.
So this person said that they think that OneWheels are way more dangerous than electric skateboards.
You're right.
They actually used to feel
Got
the
'em.
opposite way. They ride both, and they always felt that their OneWheel was safer. But they had a pretty gnarly crash, dislocated his shoulder, some other issues there. He finds them to be very unpredictable, and he thinks that it takes a lot more skill and effort to regain control of one wheel versus four.
Yeah. Sounds like we have a convert.
I would agree with that.
I agree with that. Although I have the overwhelming urge to I kind of want a one wheel. I don't know why. I just tried one at that race a couple weeks ago, and I kind of just want to really try have one. But the thing about the one wheels is that when you lean forward, when you lean on them, that's the throttle. There's no remotes. Like you lean forward, you tilt your board forward, and that's how you go forward. When you get to the end of your throttle and you can't go any faster, you start out leaning the acceleration, and that's when these people are experiencing nosedives because the board can't go any faster. So as you lean, your nose is going to get closer and closer to the ground until your board physically it's at max power, it's at max speed, and if you lean any more, your nose will touch the ground, and then you can catch on whatever, and that's when people are getting these nosedives. They're eating shit. I
read a little bit more about his story, and he said that his battery would cut out when it was lower than 20%.
Well, see, that sounds like just a manufacturing issue because
But
20%
that's what
is
caused
20%.
his fall, and it still affects
So-
the way that he views the brand.
So what's probably happening for him is he's probably getting some voltage sag at 20% when he's pushing that throttle really hard to the point where the battery is dipping below that voltage cutoff. And I don't know what the problem with the one wheels as well is if you have any experience, if you have any voltage drops, that's the only thing keeping that board balanced, right? Like on an electric skateboard, you got four wheels. There's no balancing involved. It's going to sit there on the ground, all four wheels on the ground all the time. But as soon as you remove the power from a one wheel, the platform, it's going to fall to one side or the other. It's not going to balance in the middle naturally.
Yeah.
So especially if you're leaning forward and you're pushing on that accelerator, that balance drops out, your weight's immediately going to drop down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think inherently the one wheels are more dangerous. Does it mean that the product itself is dangerous? Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the act of
I think the act of a single wheeled item. Yeah,
the gnarliest crashes on one wheels. Just nasty, full on yard sales when they go down, and it looks painful.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it looks painful. I also like the idea, right? No remote, things like that, but. I don't know. I can't get into them.
I can ride an electric skateboard, but I think I would eat shit if I tried to ride a one-wheel.
Yeah. No, I mean, I tried one at the race, and it felt fun. Like, it was a good time, but I was really bad at it. Like, I couldn't do it. It's like, to me, jumping on an electric skateboard for the first time, it was almost came super naturally.
Yeah.
But a one-wheel, there's a more of a learning curve to it, I think.
So does everyone ride belts currently right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this opinion is that while belt-driven boards generally perform better, I find them to be too noisy, and it ruins rides that would otherwise be relaxing and enjoyable.
Okay, I mean, sure.
I suffer from that a little bit, but I mean, we have really dirty roads, and that's usually what causes it. You know, you just have dirt and dust in your pulleys and in your belts, and that it's the squeak, it's the sound. I get it, but
I still wouldn't trade it though.
Yeah, you know, and I guess maybe the comparison is probably to hubs. Third option
or
being
direct
gear
drives,
drives,
I guess,
or direct drives. But I guess now fourth option then gear drives, which most are quiet, not all are quiet. I think maybe start with a little maintenance on that, but my board's pretty noisy.
Yeah. See, mine's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's noisy to the extent that it would bother people around you in a group ride?
No.
Okay.
Well, in a group ride, there's belts everywhere.
Let me clarify. My shit is loud. So
his board is pretty
everybody
loud.
in the park sees me when I'm coming. If you are behind me, it is pretty obnoxious. And I clean it, you know, consistently. But by mile 10 of the dirt or the grass or just the roads around here in general, it's wicked loud, man.
Yeah, I feel you. Like, my board's not very loud. I feel like mine sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yours is quiet.
Like,
I need your motors.
So I don't know what it is. If it's a motor issue or
mine's pretty quiet too.
Yeah, like, so I don't know. To me, it's not worth. I would never base. I'm not gonna put sound over performance. That doesn't sound. Unless you're building a board specifically to get around campus, you're trying to be a little stealthy about it.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe it's more. So I guess it just comes down to personal preference. Although here's the thing, I think the popular opinion though would be performance over sound. People are not choosing their boards based on what it sounds like.
Yeah, probably.
I think people are picking their boards for performance. So that would be the popular opinion. So yes, I think his opinion is probably unpopular.
Yeah.
But
all right, so moving on. E-skate will always remain a niche and will never be as popular as electric scooters. And someone said the same thing, but with electric bikes.
yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Easily true. Because people, so I feel totally safe on an electric skateboard. I feel fine on one, but there's plenty of people who do not feel safe at all with no handles. They have to have.
I hear that all the time.
Yep.
Every time I tell someone what we do, they say, "Oh, I think I'd like that, but with a handle."
Yeah.
How do you make it go? That's what, you know.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah,
more people ride bikes than people skateboard. So throwing electric on it, still more people are gonna bike.
Yeah, right. So I don't think that's an unpopular opinion at all. I think if you ask anyone in the e-skate community, unless they're completely delusional about like the rise of electric skateboards, like I think I can tell you this, I almost never see people riding electric skateboards to work here in Vegas because we're very suburban, but I see people on scooters all the time.
And electric
all
bikes.
the time, and electric bikes all the time. Every day I see somebody on a scooter, but I almost never see someone on an electric skateboard. And I think it's going to stay that way forever. I think the rise of PEVs in general will take over. I mean, we're going to see a ton of them, which means more electric skateboards sold than ever before, more scooters, more bikes, all of that more sold than ever before. But I still think electric skateboards will be the smallest sector of that. You know, I mean, not including the, EUCs and is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll never catch
OneWheels.
bikes.
No,
I mean, there's just,
bikes and
there's
scooters
just
will,
simply no
to
way.
me, bikes and scooters will always be ahead of skateboards. I just think they're easier to ride and more user friendly. There's no learning. I mean, as far as for me, I don't think there's that much of a learning curve for electric skateboards, but there's even less of a learning curve for a scooter. I was riding an electric scooter at 8 years old, no problem, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think if people find, more reasons to use it outside of just, for play, just to ride around the neighborhood, if they're using it to do deliveries, maybe for 3 hours a day, you just want to do deliveries on your board. Like that could become a thing, but for it to, get
I would rather
anywhere
do that on
near-
a bike.
Right. That sounds
Like
that
even
sounds way
me,
more
and I
fun.
love electric skateboards. I'd still rather do that on a bike.
Yeah.
I don't know how to carry people's shit on my skateboard. Like, that's crazy.
It's just never gonna get.
It'll never
It's just
get
not
higher. And
possible.
I think so. I think that's right. And I think that's probably the popular opinion there. For
So
sure.
I think we have time for one more.
Okay.
PEVs are more dangerous to the people around them than to the rider themselves.
Quit getting in our way.
I think people aren't used to them. So I think people first of all, people are oblivious. Their faces are in their phones. I see people crossing the crosswalks, texting or on Instagram or whatever they're doing. Like, just because you're in a crosswalk does not mean you're invincible invincible. You're more. I accidentally said invisible because a lot of times you are invisible to some of these drivers. So like the fact that people are in their phones all the time is, first of all, I'm going to say the number one reason why people are like injured or killed in crosswalks, because they're not paying attention. I mean, the reason is because someone hit them. But if you were looking up, maybe you could have hopped out of the way. And I think it's the same thing with electric bikes, electric scooters, electric skateboards, is people walking around are just, they don't pay attention to their surroundings. So
I don't look at it as more dangerous though. Something like a car, I think, is more dangerous to people around you than you. I think you're safer in a car than someone outside of a car or in another car is when they're put up against your car.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the same way about PEVs. I feel like if you fall off your board, there's going to be way more damage than if you hit someone with your board or your bike.
So I'm going to say, if you were to take, now I don't have any data on this, so this is just my opinion. If you were to take all the crashes of all electric skateboards and you look at them and you make a category for the amount of people who were injured while riding versus the amount of people who were injured because they were in the area when the crash occurred, the people who are riding have to take that by 10x at least. I mean, obviously someone is going to get hit with an electric skateboard one day and it's going to like hurt them a lot for sure. They were walking down the street, they got ankled by an electric skateboard at 25 miles an hour, and maybe they break their ankle or something. Could that happen? Absolutely. Has it happened? It probably happened.
I bet in like New York it happens
all the time.
All the time. But I bet a bike rider runs into just as many people.
Yeah. So I don't know. It also comes down to, like, don't be a dick on your board. If there's a ton of people around you, maybe don't go flying past them at 30 miles an hour. Yeah. Maybe 10. Like I've weaved in between some heavy foot traffic at UNLV with my board, but not at 30. At like 10.
Nothing
12.
worse than coming up on somebody that's walking or even running with headphones in.
Yes,
because they are so oblivious to the world. You are waving your arms, you're screaming, you're yelling, and they are just so tuned out. So we end up going around or whatever. I went around a girl the other day, and she screamed so loud, like it actually scared me. And I was literally behind her for 10 minutes, and waving my arms, screaming at her, and she was totally oblivious. And as soon as I went by, she screamed, and then started yelling at me.
Because you got too close to her?
Yeah, I just kept going. Yeah.
Okay. See, people are also dramatic.
Yeah, not messing with that. I didn't do anything. I went probably 10 feet around her, and
that's too close. That's way too close.
Oh, way too close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could have
gotten COVID.
Breathed on her. Yeah. Could have got Rona while riding.
Well, I was outside of 6 feet, so I was safe.
Oh, yeah, you're safe. Yeah. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been our little segment on literally the whole show, Unpopular Opinions. So if that was, if you share one of those opinions, I apologize, but you're wrong.
If you watch this whole thing.
Oh, here you go. Mark's secret message at the end. What is it going to be?
If you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, famous or not famous, who would it be and why?
Can you tell Mark's hungry when we film these episodes?
Oh,
Last week's was about lunch too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always about lunch.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you could just hang out with someone for the day.
Okay.
Dead or alive, famous or not famous, who would it be and why?
If you leave a message and it's like some dude at your local shop, we won't know who you're talking about. So maybe make it famous. Famous or not. If it's not famous, I don't know if we're going to know who they're talking about.
Well, they could say who they were talking about.
That's true. All right, well, anyways.
Now you just made it confusing. So famous people or not famous people?
Whatever. Whoever you want, I don't care. Whoever you want to, eat lunch with.
Sounds like you do care.
Maybe I care a little bit. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. What's next week? That would be week before Christmas.
2 weeks.
2 weeks before Christmas.
We have 2.5 weeks.
Okay. All right,
until
well,
Christmas.
we'll figure that out. I don't know. Math is hard, so
What's today? Yeah.
I don't know. When this episode comes
Is
out
it
in a couple
lunchtime?
days, it's lunchtime, dude.
It's
All right.
No, wait, because this
22nd.
is coming out on the 11th, right?
Yeah.
And then
so
the
it'll be
next
2
week
weeks.
is the 18th.
So it is the week before Christmas.
So next week will be the week before Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because
there we
Christmas
go.
is on a Saturday this year.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. So we will maybe have a Christmas episode. We'll figure that out next week. We'll let you know next week. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will see you in the next one.